Evaluating expressions is going to be a very important part of both pre-algebra and algebra. In order to get started on this, though, we need to define a couple of words. I need to know what evaluate means, and I need to know what expression means. So we'll start with the word evaluate. This is something you'll need to copy down in your notes, a definition. The word evaluate means to find the numerical value of an expression, or in other words, you're just looking for the number answer. Remember, the best part about these videos is that you can pause, you can rewind, so please make sure to pause before I move on if you need more time to write that down. So what I'm saying is I want to know, what is the number answer here? What does 15m, what number is that? What is m plus n? I want to know what number is the answer. I want to know what number answer this is, or what number answer this is. So that's what evaluate means. Now we need to talk about the word expression. Expression is a combination of numbers, variables, and operations without an equal sign. Okay, and in your notes, I want you to make a note, especially right here, capital letters, highlight. We're talking about things that do not have an equal sign. So 3a plus 4bc, that's an expression. Negative 5ac, that's an expression. So these are both examples of expressions. And we should also talk about one more definition, the definition of the word variable. Variable is a letter that is used to represent a number. So in these two expressions right here, I've got the variable a and b and c. And over here, I've used the variables a and c. So if we're going to go back to evaluate these expressions, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be replacing the letter m. Every time I see the letter m, I'm replacing it with the number 3. And every time I see the letter n, I'm replacing it with the number 5. And in my class, I'm going to always ask that you use bubbles. Bubbles is just a word for empty parentheses. So every time I see a variable, I'm going to just go and write an empty set of parentheses. I'm going to write some bubbles. And what that's going to do is it's going to leave me a place to go back and fill in the values. It's going to help me keep track of positive and negatives. And in this case, it's going to show me exactly what needs to happen. I'm going to put this 3 right here because m is 3. And this is m, so I'll place a 3 here. This is m, so I'll place a 3 here. The letter n is 5 in this example. So every time I see the letter n, I'm going to place a 5. Now, we can see the importance of using bubbles. A lot of students that don't do this on this first example, they would write the 15, and then they know that m is supposed to be 3. They'd put that 3 right next to it, and they'd say, Ms. Carnes, the answer is 153. The answer is not 153. Here I can see, because I've used my bubbles, what is supposed to happen between these two things is actually multiplication. So I'm supposed to do 15 times 3, and the answer to that is 45. 3 plus 5 is 8. 50 take away 3 is 47. And 40 divided by 5 is 8. Next, you'll be asked to write variable expressions. So I might give you something like 3 more than a number, and I want you to translate that for me into an expression. This is definitely going to be one of those places where you're going to want to pause the video and copy down this chart, because these are key words that will help you translate written words like this into variable expressions. So 3 more than a number. Well, do I know what number? No. So I'm going to use a variable. You could use n or x, or you could use the first letter of your first name, whatever you like. I'm going to use the letter n, and this is the number 3, and more than I see right here. More than must mean addition. So 3 more than a number translates into 3 plus n. The product of 12 and a number, well, I see product, oh, here it is. Product is here in the multiplication. And a number, I'll just use n again. So this must mean 12, and I'm supposed to be multiplying. Now here's something to make sure that you take note of. The only absolutely 100% correct way to write this is 12n. In an algebra class, you will not see, you can make a list of these if you want and cross them out, 12 times n, 12 times n, or 12 with little asterisks times n. These are all incorrect. I just wrote them down. I'm going to cross them all out. This is the correct way, 12n. And one more example on this page, quotient of a number and 3. Well, I'll just use n for a number. And quotient I see right here must mean division. And here's another thing to make sure you complete in your notes. The only correct way to show this in an algebra class is n over 3. We don't use this division symbol. It's going to look like this, n over 3, n divided by 3. Now there's one tricky phrase that I need to make a point of, and it is less than. So make sure that there's a special place in your notes for less than. If I asked you to translate 5 less than a number, I'd probably be pretty tempted to say, okay, here's the number 5, and a number, I'll just use n. No, I see I'm using x here, so let's go ahead and change that to x. And I see less than, and I know that means subtraction. So I'm thinking this is the way I want to write this. That's what I'm tempted to do. But let's think about this using an example. What if I asked you, what is 5 less than 20? What's 5 less than 20? I think your answer would be 15, which is correct. So let's go ahead and try that in these expressions. If I had changed less than a number, if I changed that to 20 and then plugged in 20 right here and right here, which expression would give me the correct answer, which we know is 15? 5 take away 20 is actually negative 15, whereas 20 take away 5, yeah, that's 15. So in going back to the very beginning here, I can see that this is not going to work out. 5 less than a number should actually be written like this. 5 less than a number. So we need to be careful when you guys see the less than symbol that we end up kind of writing it what seems like backwards, but it does actually work and it does actually make sense. Here's a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire style game about writing expressions. tinyurl.com/carnes algx for algebra expressions.